Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Jordan from L.I.F.T Training, and this week we are talking about the electric and propane counterbalance forklift. It's by far the most visually popular forklift on the planet, and today I'll be pointing out the differences between each truck. So as you can see from a distance, they look very similar, but as you take a closer look, you'll see that there are a few things that make them operate slightly different than one another. I get a lot of questions on why a company would want to buy just an electric or just a propane, and there are a few different reasons why they would. First, propane is great if you're running multiple shifts in a day or 24/7, just because it's a simple change of a tank and you're back up and running immediately. If you're outside, it comes in very handy as well. The propane's a little faster and it can lift a bit more weight than the electric can. Now the electric is obviously a must if you're around any types of food, because the carbon that comes out of the exhaust on the propane could contaminate the food. If you only operate on a regular business hours, this can also be beneficial to the company because they could charge the truck at night. There's no need for propane tanks obviously, and in the morning it's powered up and ready to go. It's a lot quieter also, so you don't need any ventilation to expel the fumes, as where a propane you would need the doors open or proper ventilation. So first we're going to take a look at the propane counterbalance. As you will see, the seat and steering wheel don't really have much difference between them. For the majority they look the same. Over here to the right of the steering wheel, these are our hydraulic controls. So from left to right we have our up-down lever that will raise or lower the forks. Next is the tilt lever, in which you'd use to secure the load. After that we have our side shift lever, which shifts the load left or right. And lastly we have our attachment control lever, which allows you to, well, you guessed it, to add an attachment to the forklift. There are many different types of attachments, and some of the examples of those attachments are what you see here, something like a roll clamp or a box clamp. Next we will take a look at the pedals. So similar to a car, there's an accelerator pedal and a brake pedal. But because this is a propane counterbalance, it will also have this third pedal, which is an inching brake. Now the inching brake allows you to hydraulically disengage the transmission. And the reason why you really need to do this is because when you're holding down the pedal and you need to raise the forks, you actually have to hold the accelerator pedal in order to raise the forks quickly. Otherwise it would just creep up really slow. By holding down this pedal, it allows you to raise the forks without moving the truck forward. Now, safety is our passion here at L.I.F.T Training, so I want to remind everyone that even though you can disengage the transmission while the pedal is down, always remember to switch the truck into neutral before raising or lowering your forks to prevent accidental movement. Beside the inching brake, we have another foot pedal, which is the emergency brake. Some cars have an emergency brake that looks like this. As we come up to the steering column, you actually see the release for the emergency brake and the directional controls, which allow the operator to put the truck in forward, neutral, or reverse. If we look at the front of the truck, it looks almost identical to the electric. Now these forks can be removed. You slide them to the center and remove them to allow your attachments to go on. Moving on to the electric, like I said earlier, the two trucks basically have the same seat and steering wheel, but let's first take a look at the pedals. So on the electric, there is no inching brake pedal because we don't need it. In fact, if you take your foot off the accelerator pedal, the truck won't move forward if you are stopped. Unlike the propane, where it would move forward if you didn't have your foot on the brake, much like automatic car and drive would. Also, because it's battery powered, the forks will raise up quickly and you don't need to hit the accelerator pedal to raise them quickly. As you can see here, there are only 3 hydraulic levers. Electrics can still have attachments, but this particular one that we have does not. It could be added, however. The directional controls off to the side are the exact same, but the electric has an emergency handbrake rather than a foot pedal. And most battery-powered forklifts have these display panels that you see here that read things like battery levels or the amount of hours on the truck. So we're going to take a quick look at the battery here. This one's made by our friends at Deca. They are very heavy. This one actually weighs about 2,000 pounds, believe it or not. So it's about half the weight of a car. The batteries being this heavy actually help the counterbalance pick up heavy objects because it adds weight to the total weight of the truck. So quickly, I'm just going to point out that this truck is a three-wheeler. Now there are four-wheel electrics and there are four-wheel propanes, which you'll see in a minute. But the difference is that there's a smaller turning radius with the three-wheeler. So if you have limited space in your warehouse, be sure to check out the three-wheel as it have better maneuverability in tight spaces. So for those people out there that have never operated a counterbalance, the rear wheels are the turning wheels. So let's pop the seat on the electric to take a quick look at the batteries. You can also see here that there's a thick wire that runs over top of the batteries, and this is what you would unplug from the connector and plug this actually directly into your charger. And if we look at the propane, it looks more like underneath the hood of a car, and on the bottom of the truck is actually where the exhaust is. So as you can see, both trucks are very similar, however they do have their differences. The propane, you have to do a few more things while you're operating than you do with the electric, and we typically train people first on the propane and move them to electric because of this. And that summarizes our Counterbalance Propane and Counterbalance Electric introduction video. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button in the corner for weekly videos, as well as the videos below for how-to videos and other introduction videos on different types of forklifts. And from the leaders in forklift training, thank you for watching.